ask you this question. How much plywood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck knew how valuable this stuff was in working on old Mercedes-Benz? The answer is none. The woodchuck would keep all the plywood. The reason being is this is the ideal thing to use when jacking up a Mercedes-Benz. For both safety and to prevent damage, I use either 1-inch or 3/4 inch plywood cut in squares of either 5 or 6 inches. I can use these in multiple stacks to get just the height I want. The reason I use plywood is, number one, it won't split like other wood, and number two, it has a soft enough surface to be able to compress to prevent damage to the body of the car. I'm going to go ahead and raise this car up a little bit so you can see how I use these blocks on a car lift. You can see how important it is to use plywood. There's a lot of weight on this piece of wood here, and if you were to use fir or hemlock or any other type of wood, that pressure point would cause the wood to split and the car could drop onto the jack. The other thing I like about wood is it won't slip. Even if the car or the jacket is greasy, the compression of the wood will hold that safely on the jack or the jack point. Let's go ahead and move over to the floor jack and I'll show you how you use the wood on that. When using a floor jack to raise the car, get a good piece of plywood. You'll need a good flashlight so you can make sure you can see what you're doing under the car. Go ahead and place the piece of plywood directly on top of the floor jack. Move the jack under the car. In this case, I'm going to be jacking up on the rear differential. Get it centered right on the rear differential. Once the jack starts rising, it will engage those fins on the differential housing, prevent it from slipping. Then you can go ahead and completely jack the car up in the air with a much less likelihood that the jack can slip off the rear housing. I think you can understand now why I'm such a fan of old plywood. The moral of this story is, don't be like the woodchuck and chuck your old plywood.